Good morning. Happy to be back. 1 month out from my shots. To me, that's a pleasure. I keep making arrangements to see other people who have also been vaccinated, and that makes me really happy. To get hugged by another human being at this point, after so much isolation, is a human response that I never thought I would care about as much as I do. But I do. And so I proselytize about that vaccine. Get it and be safe. What's happened in the last week? Well, we know the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill has been passed. Most people will get a benefit from the $1.9 trillion. Unfortunately, today's GOP is actually suing the administration because they don't want to use the funds for helping out the citizens of their states. They'd rather give tax cuts to the corporations, more tax cuts to corporations. The upper 1% has already added $3.4 trillion to their bottom line. What have we got? We've got bread lines. We've got people who are starving. We've got a lack of vaccines for those minorities who really need it. We're not supporting everyone. In fact, in 2014, long-term unemployed people would have been protected were it not for the fact that the GOP in 2014 thought, they're malingerers. Malingerers don't need any money. So 3.5 million people wiped off of the insurance benefit rolls. Why? I know several people who are not malingerers, who are high-level techies who can't get jobs. And those folks don't deserve to be cast aside as if they don't exist and they're unseen and unheard. We're talking 3.5 million people, long-term or unemployed. We need fundamental change to our insurance benefit plans. And we've got a guy who wants to do it from Oregon, Representative Wyden. Let him do it because that's what we need. Now we know the first of the GOP voter suppression laws are coming on board. That too, it's enraging their population. In Iowa, the folks are not happy that their early voting time has been curtailed, nor are they happy that the hours to vote have also been curtailed. The federal government has two laws, H.R. 1 and the John Lewis Voting Rights Law, that really reinstates what the Supreme Court overturned, the voting rights that LBJ put in. And this would allow everyone to vote. It would be an opt-out system, automatically registered, no excuse absentee ballots, longer early voting days, time to get your ballots in, no gerrymandering. Gerrymandering on either side is no good. It's got to make sense, and it should be left to the people to do so. So I am for election reform, just like I'm for helping the long-term unemployed. They want to work. We don't even have the jobs for them, because if we did, we'd be posting them, and we wouldn't be letting AI screen resumes and have age discrimination, gender discrimination, and what other disability discrimination you can think of. So, no, we need fundamental change in our laws. It takes time. And if it were up to me, I'd have a cover letter on every law, something that we, the people, could understand. I'd make it so, what does the law stand for? What does it give us? And the conclusion of how many people benefit. That would be super. In plain English, just like I used to read in the Congressional Record when I debated it so many years ago when I was in high school and president of the Debating Society. So there's a lot to be done, and it can't be done without fundamental change. Student loan debt? I understand the kids are paying off federal loans that have a higher interest rate than the Fed funds. If you buy a piece of art or a great painting or a not so great painting, costs you $91 million, you can borrow that money at the Fed funds window, at the Fed funds rate. Why should we be doing this to our kids and our poor and middle class families? One young man said he paid off $60,000 of his loan only to realize that the bill really was for interest. He's never done the principal. And so now his $70,000 loan is $100,000. He'll never be out of debt. That's a crime in this country. No other country does it. Australia says no loan can be more than 10% of your salary. You pay it off, I think, in about 20 years, you're done. Over here, we're draconian. We got to make a profit on everything. It's enough. Give the kids and the families who have put up their homes to secure these loans a break. Not only should the interest rates come off, because the government doesn't need to make a profit on the backs of kids and poor families, but also eliminate at least $25,000 of that debt. It's not going to hurt the country. We have other ways to raise money and other people to tap than the poor and the middle class. Those are the things that are slipping through the cracks. But what do we know that's really super and really interesting in terms of science? I just read that if you feed cows a little bit of seaweed in their diet, they produce 82% less methane into the air. That's a boon for the environment, since agriculture, I think, is 10% of our carbon emissions. What a great thing to do. A little seaweed in their diet, and you get a carbon reduction. That's a win-win. I read another one. The ocean floor is being trawled at a rate that is producing too much carbon in the atmosphere. Also, probably another 10 or more percent of the carbon emissions of the globe. It's been said, if you don't trawl 28% of the ocean, and people can map it out, what 28% do they want? Do it on a global level. You will increase food production in all the other areas. Isn't that wonderful? Because we're running out of clean resources, water, air pollution. You know, we really need to be thinking about what's going to feed our planet and where do we go. And I always thought it was the oceans, because you can do a lot with seaweed and plankton and fish. So the future is bright if we're a little flexible, we think a little outside the box, and we start solving our problems. We've made a good first step. That $1.9 trillion was knocked out of the park. But don't forget the other people who are left behind. And now we need election reform. We need student loan reform. We need unemployment benefits reform. And we really need to think about sustainable energy seriously. Tackle those problems. We'll have a lot of work for folks. We'll put people back to work who can think, whose bellies are full, who can learn and be educated, and perhaps we'll find the next Picassos and the next Einsteins in the poor and middle class. Gotta come from the top, folks. Gotta have the vision. And boy, if you've got the vision, there's millions of us who will help you pass those bills. Give us the chance. Empower us. So take care, everyone. Our future is indeed bright. It is a beginning. It is the first step towards progress. But once you make the first step, don't forget to go to the second. God bless you all. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you next week with whatever else occurs. Oh, and I owe you an update on my RAC, which is the Religious Action Committee of Reformed Jews within my state. So, see you next week. God bless you.